Welcome to Constitutionalist Politics Podcast, aka CTP. I am your host, Joseph M. Leonard, and that's Leonard. CTP is your no muss, no fuss, just me, you, and an occasional guest type podcast. Really appreciate you tuning in. As Graham Norton would say, let's get on with the show! Hello, everyone. Welcome to Books, Authors, Weeks, October of 2025. I had Health Weeks in February of 2025. I had a Music Weeks, 3 of those in the month of March 2025. So here we are, October. I have a lot of fellow authors I have the chance to have discussions with. So Books, Authors, Weeks, October 25. Without further ado, let's head into a discussion with a fellow author.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Constitutionalist podcast. Joining me today, this happens every time I hit record and the mouth and the brain don't want to cooperate. Lara Luna, Laraluna, for the benefit of the transcript. Welcome to the show, Lara.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm honored. So thank you for inviting me on the show. That's very nice.
I'm glad you're here. And the first obvious question is going to be a hostile one. Luna, is that short for lunatic?
Well, you know what? That's debatable for sure. I guess my family would say, yeah, for sure. It is definitely for short for lunatic.
Yeah, I always have an ongoing running gag, right? You got to have the sense of humor. And if you're not willing to laugh at yourself, you shouldn't laugh at anybody else. So I've got an ongoing gag. I always say, some people call me psychic. Others just call me psychotic.
Oh, okay. I was going to go, or do they call you psycho? There's all kinds of different
flavors of the same joke. Yes. Yeah. I change it up now and again. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I
love it.
Always like to play the psychic psycho joke. Again, gotta keep a sense of humor. Yeah. And anyway.
Yeah. Well, it's always so fun to laugh anyway. It kind of connects you to your soul, doesn't it?
If one has a good soul. Unfortunately, God gave all us humans free will, and some choose it for evil. So, whole other show. But anyway, you are the author of Trailer Park Angel. But before we get to the book, let's do the whole background spiel, right? Where were you born and raised? Yeah. Where are you now? Is that a fake backdrop, or is that actually your backyard?
That's actually real. That's my backyard, and it's a canal back there with alligators in it. There's otters and all kinds of birds because I live in Florida, and on the nature coast. So we have so much wildlife, and we have like grasshoppers that are as big as your hand, which is just pretty cool because they just kind of like hang out all day and do nothing.
Yeah, I love the little lizards. I used to go back and forth to Ocala a lot, and those lizards are all over the place there. I'd go sit by the pool, and they come running around. They're so cute.
Yeah, they're so cute. I talk to them all the time. I'm like, hey, buddy, you better stay away from that Jeep tire because I'm going to run you over, make sure you're out of the way. Like I do that like almost every day with them, But they always seem to come back to the same spot. But they are cute. Yeah, I think the snakes eat them because, we have a lot of snakes, as you know. But right back there, I guess we have cottonmouths, and I've seen one. And I've been here for probably 15 years at this location. I've seen pygmy rattlers. Sometimes they get kind of angry. But I just love all wildlife. So to me, it's like we can all live together just as long as I don't get bit. That'll be good.
Yeah, cycle of life stuff, right? The
Yeah,
little lizards
absolutely.
eat the bugs so they don't
Yeah.
annoy us as bad, and the snakes and whatnot eat the lizards, and whole circle of life stuff. And a good indication of why you should be watching this show on one of the 5 BitChute, Brighteon, Daily Motion out of France, Rumble, or YouTube video channels, so you could see Laura's beautiful backyard setting there. Me, I go with a backdrop to hide the ugly couch. You can
Oh,
see all
wow.
that junk there. I like to say, I'm not a hoarder, but I am a slob. So, gotta cover all that up with the green screen.
And actually
So
looks really nice back there now.
now we know where you are now. Where were you born and raised?
Yeah, so I was born in New Jersey, and then I was with my dad, who was in the Coast Guard. So I actually grew up in the South and then went back and forth. So my mom was always in New Jersey. So I did go back to take care of my mom, my grandmother, for a long period of time. But I guess you could say I'm truly Southern because, yeah, I like to sit at the light for a long time before I move when it's green.
Okay. Uh, the book, Trailer Park
Yes.
Angel.
Yes.
Now, whenever we hear trailer park, it's like Pavlov's dog, right? We're all
Yeah.
conditioned about the stereotype trailer park trash. I personally know people who lived in trailer parks, and they're great people. So, did that play a factor in
Oh, yeah.
Trailer Park Angel?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Because I was a mobile home agent for around, I would say around 9 years. And it was all in the mobile home parks in Florida. So I would just travel from one park to the next, and they were all 55 and over. So that's what I'm used to, and that's where I live right now. I actually live in a park. I've lived in different parks for many years. So, you know, there's a lot of stories that come along with living in these parks. Happy hour starts at 10, who's drunk on their golf cart and like hit something, and you're like, what was that? And then you find out it's like your neighbor who's 85 and she's like, hitting everything on the way to the clubhouse. So there's so many funny things that happen in the parks. But when I was a mobile home agent, wasn't really all that funny because it was very stressful, It is one of those stressful realty jobs that I just didn't really connect to, except for the people. I mean, don't get me wrong. Some of the people became my best friends for life. And I love them dearly, but you're right. There's so many different types of people in the trailer parks, and so we call
Well,
it a trailer park. We actually call this the hood.
I mean, there's good and bad people in any classification
Yeah.
or grouping of people you care to talk about. It's unfair to try to label a whole group as something, but
Oh yeah.
it's one of those things, trailer park trash. I mean, that's
Yeah, it's one of those
right.
stereotypical things, that people hear it and they're like, "Oh, what's that book about?" I could just imagine, like a bunch of big old rednecks with beer cans. No, it's actually a lot of retired people that maybe, like my neighbor, used to be an engineer, and then this person used to be a doctor. So it's just people from really all over too, like Michigan, Ohio, all different states that come down here. So it's really fascinating because when they come from Minnesota, they bring cheese and they say, "Don't you know," a lot, which is really cute. They're like, "Don't you know?" So you pick up all these little phrases from everybody's different states when they get down here. But it's
Yeah, a trailer
fascinating.
park there is
Yeah.
a whole lot different than trailer parks in the north. We don't
Oh,
have, right, we don't have that everybody relocating to
I
the
see.
state for the weather once they're retired, right?
I see. Yeah, yeah, that's true. And then when I look around, I'm like, who's Southern around here? Like my neighbor's from Kentucky, so that works pretty well because we just talk about blessing your heart all day. Bless your heart, Miss Millie. But
So,
that's my book is about um living in a trailer park and having a spiritual awakening in a trailer park and seeing angel numbers and other people seeing numbers too and getting together and their stories and I actually try to relate the whole angel number. um
well, let's back up a
yeah,
second for those who need to hear it.
yeah, go ahead.
What do you mean by angel numbers?
Right. So these are numbers that people see without thinking that they're going to see the number. Like they'll just come up or you'll wake up at 3:33 a.m. in the morning and you'll look at the clock and go, "Oh wow, look at that. It's 3:33." Or you're like in the kitchen and you look at the stove and it says 2:22. Or you'll be driving in your car and I'm giving you things that happen to me. So driving your Jeep down the road and in front of you is a school bus with spray painted 111 and now you're starting to think, is it me? Am I going crazy because I'm over 55? I mean, what's going on here? So I started to look it up online and what I did was I just punched in the number into Google by itself. Like I wouldn't punch in 222 angel number because at the time I didn't know that they were angel numbers. They were showing up when I was a mobile home agent and I would like go to a house and the house would be like lot 222, in the mobile home park, and I'm like, that's weird. And then I would fill out like a sales contract and it would say 111,222 and I'm like, what? And so it was freaking me out. And then I started to talk to people about it. And I'm like, gosh, I hope they don't think I'm weird, but I'm going to mention this because this is like popping up everywhere. And I just wanted to feel like I wasn't crazy. So as I
Right.
started to mention it to certain people, the majority of people were like, hey, you know what? I see numbers like that too. And this one woman said to me, that's an angel number. And that's how I started looking all this up. I heard that from someone else and I started to look it up. And sure enough, I punched 111 into Google by itself without the word angel number. And up comes in the first two pages angel number. And it gives you the meaning of what it is. So then I found out that whatever you're doing at the time when you see the number is probably related to how you're feeling and what you're doing. And then it gives you a message. So then I got really into it. And then I didn't want to look for them because I didn't want to like make it happen. But it's some days I would see them, other days I wouldn't, And so that got me all into that. And then I had a spiritual awakening. I guess you could say I'm definitely not the same person I was 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I was really in the mode of the old belief system of I'm like in a fear-based belief system of I have to suffer and work as much as I can in order for everyone to respect me as a person. I have to work every single day, as fast as I can, as much as I can, in order for my own family to say, "Oh, wow, so you're still at that job? Well, good for you. Yeah, you're doing a good job." And all that stuff that I was doing was I was living for everyone else. I wasn't living for me, and I was stuck in this fear-based belief system until I started taking time out for myself. And how I found out about that was watching YouTube, spiritual leaders on YouTube, actually learning a little bit about quantum physics on YouTube. And then that somehow relates to spirituality in a way too, with the whole universe. And so taking everything I learned, using 3 AI systems to actually put information in to make sure I wasn't crazy. And when everything came out to, this is similar to this is the exact same thing that this person said. Then I went and I watched all the near death experiences and I was like, wow, no way. How many have I watched? Gotta be over 200 by now that I've watched. But I know there's thousands, if not millions out there of these,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, I had someone on that with a near to
Oh, really?
NDE, and I've also had an atheist on talking about afterlife from an atheist standpoint. She still
Wow.
believes in an afterlife, and she feels there's enough scientific evidence as a
Yes,
non-believer to at least understand and accept there's something beyond this. So all
absolutely.
this is interesting, but yeah, some might be saying, "Oh,
Yeah.
silly you,
Yeah.
just trying to
Yeah.
give meaning to random coincidence." Well,
Yep.
there comes a point where coincidence turns into statistically anomalous and can't be a coincidence anymore. It's a pattern.
Yes. Exactly. That is so like exactly right and exactly what happened to me. I on purpose didn't jump to, oh my gosh, I didn't even know what a spiritual awakening was until I started to research everything. And then taking the three AI programs and putting the same, things that I learned into those programs and it all coming out to be the same. That's not a coincidence.
Yeah. Others would also bring into this the they try to poo-poo astrology or poo-poo.
Yeah.
They'll bring up, oh, this is just numerology nonsense. Well, you know,
Yeah.
as a believer in God, God having created all things, there has to be something regarding astrology that affects us. There
Yeah.
has to be something in these number patterns.
Sure.
So that again, them seemingly being way beyond statistical coincidence.
Exactly. And that's exactly what happened to me. And I waited for probably 2 years before I told anyone close to me about this because, I have three brothers. It's not easy.
Oh, they're going to pick on you. You're right.
Exactly.
They hence back to the top of the show and the lunatic joke, right? Yeah.
Exactly right. Yeah. When I told them about my new name and I was like, they're like, who are you? We don't even know who you are anymore. I'm like, well, is it better or worse?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, she
But
kind of sort of hinted the cat out of the bag there. We're not going to give her real name, but yeah, this is a pseudonym
yes.
she's writing under. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. But yeah, so this is how it all began for me. And then I started to meditate in the mornings. And then,
I've had someone on talking meditation too.
oh,
You
really?
don't have to see it as a religious thing. It's the
No.
benefits. And I've also had someone on talking Buddhism. You don't have to see that as a religion. The philosophical tenets are very good and sound, positive things.
Oh, I agree with you. I totally do. Yeah. And well, I have a neighbor. I love her dearly. I've known her for 15 years. She's definitely like my grandma. And so I have a podcast too. So she's in my episode number one. I don't use her real name or anything, but she'll come out with her golf cart over here to the right and she'll like hit my back deck a couple times because bless her heart. He can't see or hear too good, and she's still driving that golf cart. But I'll go out there and I'll be like, "Hey, Miss Millie, are you all right?" And she's like, "When's the last time you went to church? Did you go to church on Sunday? I didn't see you there." And then I'm like, "Well, no. You know why?
There's more than one church. Maybe I went to a
Yeah,
different one, right?
or maybe." Right here in my house is my church. I'm talking to Jesus right now, to be honest. I mean, I talked to him this morning, you know?
So, gotta say the name of the book again, Trailer Park Angel. Is that your first book?
I did another book called Awakening by Numbers, which is an ebook, and that was more of like a serious type of a book. Now, don't get me wrong, I am not a literary scholar or anything, nor did I graduate college, in anything like that. I'm an artist. I'm an actual painter. So I've been an artist online for probably 25 years before I did the mobile
So
homes.
you've been a creative
Yeah,
for a long
my whole
time.
life.
This is
Yeah.
just a new outlet of creativity for you. I've got a CTP video exclusive. You're going to be part of Books Authors Weeks I'm doing here in
That's
October.
awesome.
So I'm going to show that video or include that video exclusive in week 3 where I joke about I'm not Shakespeare. If you're looking for Shakespeare,
Yep.
you got the wrong guy, right? So you kind of have that, right? Yeah. I'm not
Oh, yeah.
trying to be Shakespeare. If you're
Yeah.
looking for Shakespeare, walk on by.
Right. Like my chapters are like maybe 1 or 2 pages long, and it's a really easy read that you could read at the pool. Like I have a friend that's an Army Ranger and he's very serious, but he bought the book and he reads it by the pool. It's the funniest thing. But yeah, so it's just I edited I did all of the editing myself because honestly can't afford to hire an editor to do it. It's pretty expensive. I mean, And
For a good one, it is.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah, definitely. So I went over the book. I don't know how many times just to make sure it sounded okay. Is this sentence okay with the, it took probably almost a year to actually get it all done, really. I did use a really good software that was easy for me because I got to put the chapters in there and then I got to kind of see it. And then Amazon was great because I could also then publish it myself, through the KDP program over there. So that really worked out. And then I was like, well, I don't know if anyone's going to like this book. And then my neighbor bought it. And I didn't expect this, but we were walking our dogs one morning and she said, hey, I read your book. And I was like, uh-oh, is she gonna like it? But she was like, I was just blown away by it. I couldn't put it down and it was so unexpected. I thought it was going to be funny like your podcast. And I'm like, "Well, I tried to make it funny." And she's like, "Well, it's kind of funny, but it's not all funny." She said, "I actually learned a lot and I'm not fearful anymore. I'm talking to God and I have God in my life now and I feel so much better about like she used to always be bothered about people in the park. Like if somebody says something negative to you, you'll carry it for days. That used to happen to me too. But after reading the book, she said she let all that go and she's walking around like looking at rainbows now. And I'm like, wow.
That
And I'm
sounds
thinking,
like my last couple books. Yeah. The Book of Kennedy, of which I'm wearing the shirt, and
oh, yeah.
a short story, a lasting legacy,
Oh,
all about
nice.
indeed, trying to present positive Christian themes
Yeah,
without picking up the Bible and beating people over the head with it, right? That don't work.
exactly.
That don't work.
Exactly. Yeah.
Enlightenment through entertainment and without being overly preachy, which turns people off. And in my How to Write a Book and Get It Published, Hints, Tips, and Techniques, you kind of alluded to this. I mentioned a book is never done.
No, never.
There are
Never.
always
Yeah.
things you could substitute, add, change, remove, move around, but there comes a time where you got to say, okay, it's got to be released.
Yeah.
And I'm like all my books. Minute I'm done, I'm like, oh darn, that should have been in there. Oh, that should have been in there. You know. And
I
the
know.
other thing in How to Write a Book and Get It Published, you also alluded to. We said, I don't know if anybody. There's a market for anything.
True.
But also, as discussed in How to Write a Book and Get It Published, you've got to do things like this, be on
Yeah.
podcast,
Yes.
because people aren't going to just, some may stumble upon it,
Yeah.
but people aren't going to know it's there by osmosis. You got to
Yes.
promote it so they know it's available, that, oh, hey, that sounds pretty cool. Like my latest that I just released and I say it in the title, is E.T. Really Here? A really short story, just a 99-cent
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
Kindle release. And I say right in the description, seriously, this is really, really short. I don't want to trick anyone into buying something, thinking it's right. And the other thing is, this is really, really weird. It's about aliens, and the writing style that I deliver it is weird. Also, don't judge my other books by this book. Do you have a next book in the works?
I do actually. And well, I was getting into my meditations. And eventually, my meditations did turn into channeled messages. And there are channel messages from other beings, from Jesus also, who I did speak to today. And what I do in my meditation now is I tape record the whole thing. And it's starting to go on for more time. So today I had a meditation of 35 minutes, and half of that was with Jesus. I call him Yeshua. My friend calls him Yeshua. And so I guess he doesn't mind. You can call him.
Hey, it's like the old joke. Call me whatever, just don't call me late for dinner.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. So then that turned into, I took a pen and a notebook, and I said to the universe, is there anyone else in a positive way with unconditional love that would like to communicate with me? Because I can bring the message to the world. I could write another book, or I could get on a podcast and I can start telling people. So then the messages started to come through. And they started to come through like I couldn't believe that it was true in the beginning. So that's why I use the AI programs to put all of that information into. The automatic writings at first when I started were so bad I could hardly read the words, but my hand couldn't stop. It just kept moving and moving and moving to like 3 or 4 notebook pages. And I was like, wow, I wonder if I really did that. Is this real? So I kind of let that one go. And then the next one I had the next day, which is always in the mornings. I did another 2 pages. So I decided to talk into AI the whole thing word for word and see if I was crazy. So I said, okay, can you go through this whole transmission and let me know if any of the star systems that I mentioned are real? Are any of the indigenous people that I mentioned real? And are any of the locations here on Earth real? And it would go through everything and bring up, and it is pretty true. Like AI does stay to the truth. So it'll come up with, well, I think this one is a little creative, but this part is real. And I'm like, oh my gosh, there really is a Vega star system. There really is. Of course, I always knew about Orion, but I didn't know the coordinates of what they were giving me. So then I started to, and this is just a little bit about the book, is going to be every transmission that I ever did in automatic writing, and the meditations that I recorded are going to be word for word what that whole next book is going to be about, so people can read it, because I think, and I'm pretty sure, that the messages coming through me are to give to someone that needs to hear it. And I'm not sure who that someone is. But I do know one thing. There was a message that came through that I'm supposed to find someone that is the flamboyant avatar. And I have no idea who that is. But there was an image of the desert in Nevada that came up, and a library with a white
Area 51. Area 51,
yeah,
right?
Maybe, maybe, yeah. I guess if it's there, yeah.
Anyway, I'm a former IT guy, so I've known about AI coming for a long time. AI, like anything, unfortunately, the old programmer saying, garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah.
AI can be a good tool or it can be garbage. It depends.
It depends.
What one you're interacting with, how it was coded. If, like you're asking the right specific questions, it's a great advanced search engine tool as you used it for. You said, here's this, answer me these questions. And indeed, then, but as far as a truth teller, well, it scrubs the internet and there's a lot of garbage on the internet. So I don't think it purposely wants to lie to people.
No.
But it passes along garbage at times.
Yeah, so that's why I use 3 different programs at once, because I'm like, well, and then I'm still probably not 100% satisfied, but I have to take the 3 of them, come up with the same truth about the same thing, like I did with the shows, then I know it's real.
Yeah, go back to the old Funkin' Wagnall encyclopedias. Remember those?
Yeah, absolutely.
If it's printed in there, you know it's good.
I mean, I guess I could just take my word for it and be like, well, in the future, this is going to happen, but I'd rather make sure I'm not cuckoo,
Yeah, but again, full circle, we've come back to the top of the show. A lunatic, right?
A lunatic. It's all about lunacy.
At any rate, wrapping things up, do you have a website? Where do people find you?
Absolutely. It's called LaraLunaCreations.com. And if you go there, everything's there. There's a button to my podcast. There's a button to the book. And then there's also where you can sign up for the newsletter. And it's
well, I can, my OCD brain immediately, I can never pass on lame puns. You mentioned buttons, so I'm good at pushing people's buttons. But I'm bummed.
Well, this was so much fun, though. I loved being on your show.
I'm glad you came on. It was great talking with Lara Luna. Not her real name, but that's how you'll find her at LaraLunaCreations.com, author of Trailer Park Angel. Yes. Thank you for your time today, Lara.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. God bless y'all.
For tuning in to books, there will be several different books, authors, several different authors. Books, authors, weeks for October of 2025. And remember, you can check out my books at josephmleonard.us/shop. And again, Joseph M. Leonard, it looks French. It's not Leonard, it's Leonard without an O, and I have to put the middle initial in there because there is a Joseph Leonard who is also a Christian author out of South Carolina, so I have to make that distinction. And going in line with books, authors weeks, I've joked as guests on other shows, I am not he is not me, and neither of us will be confused for Shakespeare. And frankly, most writers out there are not going to be confused for Shakespeare. They're not trying to be. There might be a few that, looking for that Renaissance era feel, but hey, it's a new millennia, people. Right? This is the here and now. It isn't Shakespearean Renaissance area. If you're looking for Shakespeare, reread Shakespeare. Take care. God bless. Love you all. Like and subscribe to Constitutionalist Politics Podcast and share episodes. We need your help. Thank you for having tuned in for Constitutionalist Politics Show. If you haven't already, please check out my primary internationally available book, Terror Strikes, coming soon to a city near you. Available anywhere books are sold. If you have locally run bookstores still near you, they can order it for you. And let me remind, over time, the fancy high production items will come. But for now, for starters, it's just you as a very appreciated listener by me. All substance, no fluff, just straight to key discussion points. A show that looks at a variety of topics, mostly politics, through a Christian U.S. constitutionalist lens. So again, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Take care. God bless.